Hey, what's up, everyone? My name's Lionel. I'm your host for LD Productions. You are watching I Watch You Watch. We are covering the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. I think this is episode 8, 7 or 8. This is part 2 of their trip on Below Deck. So, whichever one it is, cool. But I appreciate everyone for coming to my channel. Please like this video in support of me. And you can subscribe and leave your comments below. Now let's get into this week's episode. Okay, y'all, so I don't think I'm going to be long because this was still more of a filler type of episode. I think I know why. It's because of the, what I want to say. Since both shows combined with Salt Lake City and Below Deck, if you've ever watched the episode of Below Deck, it's kind of this slow-moving train. Of course, we're hearing a lot of commentary from the Below Deck crew and the things that are going on, and what, as far as their commentary as to how they feel about certain things. So I think that they're going along with that pace because we're used to Housewives kind of being bam, 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 a little bit more, you know. And there's only so much you can do on a yacht to try to cause chaos. However, I think it should have been a more fun situation. And I already saw on social media where people were feeling like stuff is just being forced. And I can't say I disagree with them. And I think that they have to try to come up with things that's just not making sense. If y'all don't have issues, you don't have issues. And I think that that's okay. Like, let's have a day of fun or something. It don't, even though you guys are good at arguing and patching up and all that good stuff, it don't have to be that all the time, in my opinion. All right, so of course, it's the day after the whole Heather getting Lisa together, which I believe it was an epic flop. I still think it's an epic flop. There is no proof, screenshots, timelines, proof, effing everything, not a zilch. Someone online was saying that, oh, Heather really got some balls to go after Lisa, blue balls. So she's talking with Whitney and saying, you know, I tried to do everything I can. I just wanted our friend to know that she can't what was that? Count this and do this and collect all this information, but you collect information on people. You're strategic and you will play the long game. You will do all of these things, but nobody calls you out on your ish, Heather. I'm not a Lisa fan. I'm not a Lisa stan. However, a lot of this cast still irritates me, but I still enjoy the show. It's kind of this polarizing type of situation I have. Situation with this show. But yeah, so you think that you really got her, or I just really couldn't get through to her. You know a lot of information, so you have to admit that you did absolutely nothing with the information that you know. Basically what you're saying. Lisa, we get in the flashback, I didn't do anything. I'm not going to apologize for nothing that I didn't do. And you have no proof. That's the thing, y'all. That's why I don't care. It's all myths. It's all, what do they call it? Zeus and Ares, the gods, whatever you call them. It's all myths. It's all stories. It's all stuff that's playing in Heather's mind. You actually got proof against Monica. That's what we need. Because you still look like a fool. Brittany and Bronwyn did not get along. Last night they did not sleep. Brittany was upset at how Bronwyn threw her under the bus. I don't blame, I can't stand Brittany. I don't blame Brittany, though, for being upset. I think Bronwyn wanted to get out of that room anyways. So she slept on deck all night. And then she talked about when she actually got up and was talking with some of the stewards there. She was like, well, there was this 3 a.m. rain. I said, man, like, I would have got a cot or something. But you kind of put yourself in that predicament, even though you didn't really want to share a place with her. You did throw her on the bus. And what you did later on in the scene was kind of like, you're doing way too much, man. And I know that you're doing this to try to earn points with the cast because you know that she is the loser of the group. So you ended up saying later on, when the group met up, that she knows that Captain Jason came to the room. Brittany lies about it. And to me, it was a form of slut-shaming, if you want to say that, because you're too busy trying to say it. But, Brittany, you're not innocent in this whole situation. You know you brought that man up in there to see if you could seduce him. Ain't nobody crazy. But you're doing all of these humiliation rituals against Brittany. Just like Heather and some of the others are trying to say that Lisa's trying to do to the group. So, is there anyone that can actually hold a microscope, a mirror up to anyone without any type of blemish on themselves on this show? No. If someone is, I'm sorry, it's just crazy. So next thing you know, Brittany and Lisa, they're talking and they're hashing. Well, Brittany is just venting about how she feels about Bronwyn. Like, how could we go shopping and then she did that and just threw me under the bus? Da 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 da. Lisa goes on and says, well, she did a lot of things towards me last season that I didn't like, and she was lying on me. Da 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 da. Well, Bronwyn is hearing all that. Finally, Angie is finally feeling better, so she joins Bronwyn along with Mary. Joins with Bronwyn, and then she tells them, hey, they're talking ish about me. Da 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 da. I mean, Bronwyn, you still weren't in the right. You were trying to call out Brittany for saying, well, I can say it to their faces, which is cool in a way. But is your intent pure? I don't think so. I just don't think so. Especially how you further go on and try to humiliate her. And I promise you, I can't stand that stinking wench. So everybody joins everybody on board. And that's when Bronwyn did what she did, as far as, to me, trying to slut shame her and humiliate her more in front of the group about what was going on, because they talked about their issue and all that good stuff. Lisa jumps in and was just talking about, I don't try to humiliate people, blah, 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 blah. Angie, who's been crying for a moment all season, says, well, actually, you did try to humiliate Bronwyn in front of the group, but without Bronwyn being there. You said that Todd was caught making out with one of your friends, talking through your hair as he had gas, like he was farting. Well, that was one of the wildest things in the world. Lisa was caught up. She started stuttering and all that. It was true. Bronwyn gets pissed because she's talking about Todd and all that good stuff. I even heard you earlier talking about Gwen and all that. What we promised each other is that we weren't going to talk about each other, about Todd and Gwen, and I wouldn't talk about John. We get the flashback of that. This is what I wish Bronwyn would have considered, and even Lisa spoke up about. However, I'm still proud of the results of even Lisa later on in the scene. Bronwyn gets mad and she crashes out on her. You're dead to me. F you, da 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 da. I wish Bronwyn would have considered that Lisa said this before y'all actually sat down and said da 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 da. Lisa was trying to relate with Brittany as how she feels that Bronwyn is and how she felt like Bronwyn did her last season. I don't know if she was actually talking about Gwen in that moment, to be honest. Y'all can give me your opinions in regards to that. When she was venting with Brittany. I wish she would have considered that. I wish Lisa would have stuck up for herself in that moment. Like, yes, I did say something wrong. It was before we actually made the pact. However, later on, when Bronwyn brings it up again, she says, I was wrong. I'm sorry. I will never speak on these people again. I mean, that's all you can really ask for out of a person. Even on Watch What Happens Live, Bronwyn's still sticking that she's really done with Lisa. Maybe there's some other things that are going to happen throughout the season. Cool. Whatever. So they're going on the island to do some more adventurous stuff, which seems more fun and all that good stuff. Even Lisa, I'm surprised she even got involved in the fun activities. Later on, it looks like Lisa's more venting to Mary in regards to how she feels about Meredith. Meredith wasn't really sticking up for her. And I think that they had a flashback of when Lisa was talking with Meredith and how she doesn't feel like she's really had her back. Da, 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 da. And Mary was agreeing with her or hearing her out, I would say. When Meredith came around, Lisa did tell her how she felt about not really sticking up for her. And Meredith said, I chimed in and all that, but you were just sitting there a lot of times and you were just allowing these people to say this, da 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 da. I mean, you weren't in the room, blah, 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 blah. And Mary says, well, this is how she feels, despite you wanting to defend herself, and I think you need to really hear her out. Now, a lot of people didn't like how Mary was coming at Meredith, even though I like Mary. And this is not about like. To assess the situation, Meredith started getting snippy with Mary first. And then Mary just went full throttle on her. You're boring. You need to listen. Da 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 da. Well, you need to go over there and jump off a boat or something. All because Meredith started snipping at Mary, and Mary was just saying, listen to her out. She doesn't feel like you're being a good friend to her. Now you can stand on what you need to stand on, Meredith. I love Meredith too. And so it's like, really, Meredith, you started being, and then Meredith, you started being, and Meredith just, said, oh, so you don't care what I gotta say? Cool. And I'm just gonna flay you up, chop you up, and all that good stuff. So I don't know who walked off first, but anyway, everybody's dressing up as zombies and all that good stuff. When that trailer hit, I was like, what are we doing? But it's about bringing up old dead issues. Why? Heather, you are so whack. Oh, and this is, wait, before then. So then Angie, this was still on the island someplace. She talks with Brown about, I should have really been more considerate of you. You are just as manipulative as Heather Gay is. Nobody calls you out for it, but you're sneaky and crazy. You were trying to get a moment. You ain't been at all concerned about Brown. You could have told Brown when you and Mary were meeting up with her about what Lisa said. But you made sure you got in front of a whole group to try to clown Lisa for a moment. At the same time, using Brown as a casualty with her marriage. I see you, lady. And you're just coming off very whack. So now it's all, let's surround Brown. Nobody, and Heather even said with her, Natalie Nunn, chin, whatever you want to call it. Gonna say, I haven't felt this so close with Brown. I can't believe I was just so, she didn't say mean, but I just can't believe how I'm just paraphrasing, how I treated her. Like, Heather. But the crazy thing that's gonna happen with Brown is she's gonna eat all that up, thinking that Angie and Heather are her friends. And I believe that they're just cozying up to her to try to get some information out of her about these old cases. Because y'all really dropped that. Y'all hardly pressed that girl and went straight to Lisa. Okay, so we're at spooky zombie night. Everybody looks at fright. See how that rhymes? I got vibes. Anyways, it's really all about just Brittany and Meredith. Brittany gets sick. I guess she got sick earlier than the episode, if I remember correctly. But anyway, she got sick. She comes back and orders tequila. And Meredith's like, do you think that's good to have tequila after you're just getting sick like that? And everybody was like, oh, leave her alone. Let her do. She's grown. She can do what she wants. Yeah, she is grown. But was it the right thing to do, y'all? Instead of just like letting her get drunk? Did y'all just want her to make a fool out of herself? She's trying to make herself feel better. Alcohol is going to make her feel worse. And Meredith's like, oh, I really don't care. I would say that to my daughter if she was doing that, It's nothing to pick on her or anything. So next thing you know, Brittany brings up that she's been hearing things off of TikTok about Seth having a mistress. And then Meredith goes full throttle on her, saying, none of that is true. And you are just really feeling bad about yourself or jealous about yourself. Jealous because you can't hold on to a man. You got to deal with the man that breaks up with you just so he can go sleep with somebody else. And then she said, well, I broke up with him last. But you got a unicorn with his voice. Y'all play these really toxic games. It's not even just about Jared to me. I really feel like it's both of y'all in this weird toxic relationship that's not serious whatsoever. Hopefully you are on prep. Hopefully he's on prep, because I think y'all both do some really questionable things. Because I know y'all just don't sleep with each other. But you're going to want to stay attached to Jared because he's an husband. So Meredith gets quite serious because she's like, I think Brittany was egging her on and really pushing her buttons at this point. And was saying, I hope that, I forgot what she said, but I hope that you're open to share. Like, I know it was a way to egg her on in a way, and Meredith just kind of lost it and threw her thing. Oh, you're throwing it at me? You were just throwing a glass at me? Like, no, you got up to go splash her, even though you did do what you did to Brittany at first. So it's just like, yeah. Meredith clocked her, and that's just that. But Brittany knows that she's able to get under Meredith's skin. And she's going to do it no matter what. And she don't know how to come at Brown as of yet, which is quite interesting. But I think that she knows that Meredith is an easy target as far as at least making Meredith go off the rafters. So that's all the episode was. Again, it wasn't really much, Let's go on and do something else. Let's come up with something else. Let Angie shine with something else. But yeah, I'm about almost over Angie. I'm about almost over her because you don't give nothing new. And at this point, I'm glad that your antics are really doing it and people can see you for who you are. Some still just holding out hope all because you're attached to Mary. Not saying that you're not a good friend. Y'all are not good friends. I'll just say that much. But I think that she is your security blanket in holding the interest of the fans to make you seem like you're a good person. But you're not. You're not. And Lisa, I need you to be a different person during this reunion. Because if you start crying and doing all this other stupid shit during this reunion, I don't care what they do to you. You better stand in it and let these girls have it. That's all I do have, y'all. Thank you for stopping by, shopping. Like this video, subscribe, and leave your opinions about this episode. Until the next one, peace.